Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, ADNC family. Emma Ansah here, and we are here live for another, I think, very important topic to talk about that's going on in here, Canada, otherwise known as the Great White North. And we're going to talk about immigration again, except this time we're going to talk about Mexico and how Canada lifted the restrictions for visa requirements for Mexico. And it was back in 2016. So from 2016 to now, Canada had lifted the restrictions. So Mexico was able to just come in with no issues, but it caused a lot of problems. It caused a lot of problems for Canada. And as a result of that, well, we're in the situation that we're in where Trump then ended up charging 25% tariffs on us, right? As part of the reason why our borders were not secure, as that was one of the reasons anyway that he's saying that he was charging. But I just really feel like, you know, the decisions that a lot of the people make here in these positions of power in Canada causing all of these problems, but yet when it comes to Black people, we are just always met with so much resistance. And it's so frustrating to me. But I just wanted to give you a little preface of what we're going to be talking about today. And I'll probably be here for about maybe 30, 35 minutes. So hang out with me and I'll be showing some examples and assets to, show and back up what I'm talking about. But before doing so, I just wanted to say to Visha, thanks so much for joining in. You're right. They can't stand Black people. They don't want to deal with us. But why do they make it hard for us to leave when we want to? That is true. There's a whole process when we want to actually leave the country as well. But let's watch this one video with Dale questioning Canada's public safety minister. His name is Gary Anandasangari, asking him basically to be held accountable for allowing all of these years to go by with visa restrictions and what it resulted in. So let's just watch this.
Your government lifted visa requirements for Mexico in December of 2016. Are you familiar with that decision?
I was not in cabinet at that time, but I am familiar with that decision, yes.
Do you agree that this decision expanded the cartel presence in Canada?
I don't have a direct causal link to that, but you're aware that last year that restriction was closed.
I'm aware, but do you think that there was a connection between lifting the visa requirements and the expanded presence of the cartel and the strengthening of their smuggling networks in Canada?
I'm not at liberty to speculate on that, Mr. Lloyd.
Well, Minister, I have a report from Canada Border Services Agency. This is from November of 2016, 1 month before your government decided to lift the visa requirement. I'm going to quote from it. The visa lift will make travel to Canada easier in order to establish or strengthen existing cartel smuggling chains. In the next 3 years, Mexican drug cartels are expected to expand their presence in Canada. That is a CBSA report that was written in November of 2016, 1 month before your government lifted the visa requirements. And you're saying you can't see any causal link to that? Is CBSA wrong, Minister?
First of all, I didn't read that report, Mr. Lloyd, and I'm not at liberty to speculate on the causal link.
Well, Minister, CBSA was correct. They correctly predicted that your government's actions would expand the cartel's presence in Canada. It's plain for everyone in this country to see. Your government was warned, and you recklessly chose to move ahead by lifting these visa requirements. Minister, do you accept responsibility for your government's failure in making Canada a base for organized crime?
Mr. Chair, my responsibility is the safety and security of Canadians, and that is a task that I take very seriously, and each and every day I work to enhance and to ensure that the safety and security of Canadians are enhanced. This includes a number of measures that we've taken, including a number of bills, Bill C-2, Bill C-12, Bill C-9.
I'm going to interrupt the Minister. I've given you some good time to respond there. Minister, if you can't see the causal link between lifting these visa requirements and the increase in cartel activity in Canada, why then did your government reimpose the visa requirements?
There were a number of considerations, as you're aware, Mr. Lloyd, post-COVID. There were some changes that we made. We had a number.
Were you advised that the lifting of these visas had caused an increase in crime and the implementation of these visas were necessary to staunch the stem of organized crime growth in Canada?
Mr. Lloyd, I wasn't the minister at that point, and I did not have that particular information.
Well, you're talking about borders today. This is a border, it's a critical issue in Canada. We just had a W5 report. You've listed 7 South American and Central American cartels as terrorist organizations, and you don't know and you can't say whether your government's policies are intended to stop those terrorist organizations from operating in Canada. You can't say whether or not lifting the visa requirements did cause it, Minister. How can you not know these answers?
What I can tell you, Mr. Lloyd, is that we made a decision to list 7 cartels as terrorist entities under the criminal code. It is a decisive step that's meant to curtail the influence and filtration of these cartels within Canada.
And as usual, not able to answer the question and really explain how we got here, okay? And as you can hear, 7 cartels. And that's just the cartel. So you could imagine the level of drug activity that's going on here, okay? And it is multiplied beyond measure. It has become such a problem. And that is why when Donald Trump was then elected as the president of the United States, one of the first things that he said he wanted to clean up was the border between Canada and the United States. And one of the things that he said why he was going to be charging the 25% tariff was because of the fentanyl that was pouring into the United States from Canada. Do y'all remember when he said he was going to charge that tariff to us? I do, but in case you don't remember, let us watch.
Announcing the tariffs on Canada and Mexico for a number of reasons. Number one is the people that have poured into our country so horribly and so much. Number two are the drugs, fentanyl, and everything else that have come into the country. And number three are the massive subsidies that we're giving to Canada and to Mexico in the form of deficits. And I'll be putting the tariff of 25% on Canada and separately 25% on Mexico. And we will really have to do that because we have very big deficits with those countries. Those tariffs may or may not rise with time.
So as a result of that, our economy has tanked. We have job loss beyond. Even just going forward, we're expecting, even for the public sector in Canada, over 1,000 jobs will be lost. But I'm going to really talk about our people, Black-owned restaurants, Black-owned businesses, closing left, right, and center. A lot of people that I know that are Black-owned businesses, restaurants, what have you, they're saying they don't even know how they're going to be able to remain open for much longer because of all of these tariffs. It's really gotten bad here. And, you know, again, we go back to the fact that you chose Mexico to be the country to lift the restrictions on, and for so many years, and it just allowed things to run amok. Yet when it comes to Black nations, we have to go through so much in order to even get a visa, whether it's a visitor visa, whether it's a temporary visa, whether it's a permanent residency, whether it's a student visa. The rejection rate, as I said in one of my previous live streams, is between 65% to 79%. Yet you let these people come in here, not only Mexico, but even India and what have you. And it has just caused such problems in this country. But I just want to show examples of what it's like for Africa when we want to come here on any kind of visa. There is an independent politician by the name of Kevin Vaughn who identified the the high rate of rejection for Africans. And he actually went to South Africa because he had noticed also in South Africa, Black South Africans were being rejected beyond measure. And that's just South Africa. It's all across Africa. But he identified South Africa at the time being the highest. So he actually flew to South Africa and he had an interview talking about it. So let's just watch that.
Their work permits, study permits declined or outright refused. And then also really exorbitant and long wait times that seem to be inconsistent with kind of a broader trend of slowly improving turnaround times. And so those very alarming allegations are why I'm here, and ultimately why I went to meet with Canada's High Commissioner, Chris Cooter, to try to get to the bottom of what's going on at the mission. So Sally, one of the things that I found really disappointing and concerning is the High Commissioner told me that there are no issues. Everything seems to be great. But that's completely inconsistent with not only the allegations that I have heard from my constituents, but frankly of a parliamentary report that was published last year, May, around, quote, overt and subtle racism, end quote. In fact, there's a specific table that looks at the refusal rates of study permits for Africa. No other region or country in the world, but specifically calling out how it seems to be higher than everywhere else. There's one other thing that I want to raise, Sally, that I think was a red flag for me. Now, you have to understand, I represent a downtown Toronto riding, which is where multiple conventions, summits, conferences are held. It's hospitality. We have some of the great facilities. And there was supposed to be last year in October a Gabon Canada Trade Investment Forum event. But none of the African invitees, which by the way were invited by the Canadian government on Canadian letterhead, could get visas to attend, and as a result, that event had to be canceled. How do you reconcile that? Officially invited by the Canadian government, and somehow the locally employed staff are not giving them visas?
What was the official reason given?
A number of different reasons. I think it's unique to every individual, but it set off alarm bells. And unfortunately, this is part of a pattern that we seem to be seeing. In May of last year, Canada hosted the World AIDS Conference. It was the same thing.
Yeah.
African delegates had issues, and for me, I know that Canadians would be alarmed because this is not living up to our standards. It's not living up to our values.
So you heard that. Kevin said that it's the wait times, the long wait times, and like I said, the rejection rate, 65% to 79%. Okay. And as you can hear him say, when there's the world conferences and stuff, and Canada, the Canadian government is inviting African delegates, they're not given a visa. They're not given a visitor visa to come. And that's just for summits and things. Leave alone wanting to come as a student, wanting to come on a visitor visa, wanting to come to become a permanent resident or a temporary resident. 65% to 79% rejection rate. Yet you lift the visa restrictions for Mexico and allow 8 years to go by. And now we are in this crisis of drug trafficking and drug activity and seven terrorist entities of Mexican cartel going on in Canada. 25% tariff, as I said. This is what we're faced with. But I also want to talk about not only Mexico, because back when the Ukrainian war really started and a lot of Ukrainians were seeking asylum here in Canada, there was a really, really, really stark difference in the way that the Ukrainians were treated as opposed to when asylum seekers came from Africa who ended up on the street. So that prompted, the people, not only Black people, the Black community, but just in general, the question begged is Canada's visa process racist? And I'm just going to play a video of when that happened and how, the Ukrainian people were treated. So let's just watch.
Is being praised, but it's also raising questions about whether our country's refugee policy is racist. seeing how other war escapees didn't get the same opportunity.
The fact that the welcome came so quickly, so easily, in an unlimited way, with, processing requirements being waived, it was a bit shocking.
A member of the Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives, Sabrina Ghaffar Siddiqui, says Ukrainian refugees are undoubtedly being treated differently.
You could see that people were favoring or empathizing a little bit more with Ukrainian refugees because they have blonde hair, blue eyes, they're white, and, people felt that they could relate more. The sadder element of that is that, they were humanized in a way where other refugees from other countries have been dehumanized.
Immigration Minister Sean Fraser announced Canada would allow Ukrainians to apply for an expedited visa to stay for 2 years. There would be no conditions like language requirements or labor market impact assessments. The move is different compared to what has been done in the past. Critics are raising the question why similar opportunities haven't been granted in other circumstances.
Other refugees from other countries who could have really benefited from this kind of a response, because there were policies in place, existing policies, that were already making it very hard for them. And now we know that they could have been, overlooked.
You see that? So, so when the Ukrainians were seeking asylum, as you could hear, it was expedited, and they didn't have to go through the processes of the language assessment and income impact statement processing. None of that. Everything was expedited. There was not one person from the Ukraine that was sleeping on the street. But when people were seeking asylum from Africa and other parts of the Caribbean, they were on the street. Okay. And we can't even say that, oh, it's because the Ukrainians, it was a smaller number. No. It was massive, just as massive, if not more, than the people from Africa who were seeking asylum. So that doesn't even factor in. We're not even going to accept that. But my point is that there's a very stark difference. And you hear somebody talking about it that doesn't look like us, okay? Sabrina is not Black, but she's talking about it because she also identified that, there was a stark difference, and also identifying that the same energy could have been given to Black people that were coming from other nations seeking asylum. So the same thing could have happened for lifting visa requirements for people coming from Africa, African delegates. All of this, we're never afforded this. We're never afforded this. Right now in Canada, we have Mexican drug cartels, okay? We have people from the South Asian community, crime galore going on. The Black people that have come on visitors' visas and student visas, they're not committing these crimes. There's no drug cartel going on with the African community. There's no human trafficking and all this other stuff going on with the African community, yet we are the ones that are being denied. Make it make sense. Good evening, Yekwaba. How are you? Thank you so much for joining. Those that have received rejection letters should call them out. Yeah, change doesn't happen without eyes on movements and actions of the accused. Yeah, and you know what too is it's very hard to even find those statistics to show who they are and how many people. They don't drill down like that for us. It just doesn't happen. It's always, well, we don't have it, or Census Canada hasn't spit that information out yet. Yet, when it comes to the other people, you can find it all. Yes, Trinito Dabone, 1987. I am live on Thanksgiving, and I hope my American brothers and sisters are enjoying all that yummy food. And I know how yummy it is because I'm a dual citizen, so I go back and forth. So I know everybody's getting their grub on, to those who do celebrate. Yes, these are facts, Yakwaba. This is what is going on here in Canada. And it's one of those things where I don't really know what it would take for Canada to realize that, the people that you're giving all of these requirements that you're lifting to. I don't know how much more examples of the crime and everything else that's going on in this country has to happen before you realize that you really dropped the ball, and you literally are giving or affording liberties to races of people that are really not serving this country well. Okay. And that's why we have people running around, uh, preparing for combat, preparing to take Canada back, preparing for a race war. But somehow it's us that they are preparing to war with. It's not the Mexican drug cartel. It's not the Ukrainian people. It's us. And we're the minority. Right here in Canada, right now, the Black population is only 8%. So it's not like we are here in mass, just, raining terror on the country. It's not us. Yet somehow we are the ones that are still suppressed, oppressed, and targets. So you're saying that they've been bombing fishermen boats in the Caribbean Sea. Exactly. But no proof. This is my whole point. We are the ones being accused of stuff we're not even doing. Yes, I do know that. And I will be talking about that because I think it's time that a lot of people know about the Black history here in Canada and the Black contributions here in Canada and how many Black people were here before a lot of other nations in this here country. And yes, I do know Harriet Tubman. Harriet Tubman is responsible for bringing a lot of Black enslaved people through the Underground Railroad, and a lot of them settled in the Niagara region and across Ontario. But she, including Harriet Tubman, actually lived in St. Catharines, Ontario. There's a church just down on Geneva Street where she worshiped, and it's still there. And they have the original pews where Harriet Tubman worshiped and also conducted abolitionist meetings here in the Niagara region. So yes, I do know. I do know about it, and stay tuned. I will be bringing you that information. And the folks are not happy about it. They're very bothered by it. But I'm still going to make sure that I really talk about the Black history here, and it's about time. It is about time that people see um, what was invented, all of the contributions from Black people here, all of the excellence that went on here, including everything that was done by Harriet Tubman. So yes, stay tuned for that. And I do know that. Thank you for even bringing that up. Yeah, so you feel like Nubian King, you feel like we have no friends. Well, you know what? That's the importance of us unifying and us making sure that we are there for each other and show up for each other and unify, because I feel like there's a divide and we need to really start looking towards coming together as a nation, because I feel like once we do that in the power, then there's no stopping us. And I feel like the divide only benefits the folks. And I always say it, and I say it moreover, and I'll keep saying it. We definitely have to start unifying, and we definitely have to make sure that we show the world what Black people have contributed to this society. Oh, I pray you make it to the live. I feel like you will. Just look out for the post, because it'll be coming. It's coming. I will be. And it's not even going to be one of those things, Yakwaba, where I can do it in one segment, because there's so much. So I feel like it'll be a series. And if you want a series, drop a thumbs up in the comment field, because it is a lot. There is a lot to talk about. So you stay tuned for that. And I pray you will make it. And I think you will. And, it's super important because for one, I'm really fed up of seeing all of the favoritism that seems to be going on for other races and other nations of people except for us. And so I'm going to make it my mission to ensure that our community, the Black community here in this country, is showcased, featured, celebrated, all of that. Because I promise you, you're in for a really, really, really good treat because the Black community here, past, present, and future, is vast. And a lot of people don't know about it. So stay tuned for it. It is coming. But I really just wanted to really just show yet another example of uh, the, re- the favoritism, the decisions that are made by the Canadian government that always leans toward other races of people and never Black people. And it's extremely problematic and frustrating for me. Yes, that is true, Yubian King. Black hockey players introduced the game of hockey. And not only the game of hockey, the first slap shot as well. And stay tuned for that. I will be showing you all about that. And as I said, it's about time. It is about time. So it's coming. Exactly. Just like you said, there's a lot of our history in Canada and all over the world. Yes. But since I'm here in Canada, I'm going to show that history. I'm going to show that history. And I'll make sure that y'all get to really see it because it is more than time. It is more than time. Am I friends with any of the Tasmanian people? I am not, but I am friends with a lot of people that were here. Um, and, I'm talking Black excellence and the descendants, of Black excellence. I'm friends with a lot of people who are direct descendants. So I will be definitely talking about that. In the Niagara region alone, the history here is so vast. There's so much Black history here that, they're really they're doing the most to try and bury. And I'm going to make it my mission to resurrect it and make sure that I show y'all about it. But thank you. Thank you so much, Nubian King. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you greatly. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know that people are probably chefing it up and getting ready to have some turkey and cornbread and collard greens and what else? What else? Um, what else? Collard greens and one of the things I love, cornbread. I love cornbread. And what? Black eyed peas and whoever likes chitlins, I don't like it. Candied yams and all of that good, yummy stuff that y'all cook. And I know because I have indulged. As I said, I'm a dual citizen. So I've indulged in some yummy food out there. So I really, really hope that to those who celebrate, you enjoy it. And the other thing that I will also say before I let you all go is if you do decide to take part in Black Friday, make sure that you make it very intentional that you invest in Black owned businesses. Instead of going to the Walmarts and the Targets and the Marshalls and what did the other, like Burlington Coat Factory, those are some of my favorite places. Trust me, we don't have them here. But I was just saying that, make sure that you invest in Black owned businesses. Make it that intentional. I know for Canada, we have Black Friday sales. We call it Black Friday, even though our Thanksgiving took place in October. We call it, we still have Black Friday sales because their goal is to try to avoid Canadians or prevent Canadians from going across the border to shop. So, as a result of that, I love taking part in the Black Friday sales for sure. I do. And Cyber Monday. But I am going to make sure that I shop with only Black owned businesses. I'm not giving my business, my money to any other race, folks, business, none of them. Black owned. So I would, encourage everybody to do that if you do choose to take part in Black Friday shopping. Yeah, I'm with you, Trinity. I don't celebrate Thanksgiving either. I do not. I agree. I call it a pagan holiday as well. I do not. I used to be. I used to until I learned, till I came to the truth and really understood. And that's the importance of educating ourselves, right? So yeah. So you don't either. Yes, I agree with you, Tony. Yes, yes, I agree. Thanks taking. I like that take on it. Hi, at Mitim. How you doing? Hope all is well. Yes, support Black business only. And we know there are several. Even if it's not a storefront, you got them on, you got them online. But we just have to be careful because there are a lot of online businesses that operate under the guise of being Black owned that we have to be careful with onlines as well. And it turns out that they're not owned by Black people. They're owned by people in Asia, Japan, and China, and what have you. So we got to be careful with that too. So let us also educate ourselves and make sure that the companies that we do choose to shop with are actually Black owned, because watch for that as well. So any of you people that like to go get your nails did and all that stuff, please just, like, even if you could just for one day, just don't. Just watch and see how much these businesses will suffer without the Black dollar. Just watch and see, because our dollar is over 1.3 trillion in spending. So just try it. Just imagine a mass cancellation of shopping at any other company that's not owned by Black people for one day, and pouring it into a Black owned business for one day, and watch and see the difference. Oh, wow. So you ate at a new Black owned restaurant here. See, that's great, Yakwaba. That's what we do. Even if you choose to eat out, anything you choose to do today or, excuse me, tomorrow, do it with a Black owned. Do it with a Black owned. So you said the food was bussing. I can only imagine. Excuse me. I can only imagine. I can only imagine. I feel like I'm gonna cross over just so that I can go and invest in a Black owned business in Western New York. I'm gonna do it too. I'm going to do it. And maybe I'll chronicle it, you know? But yeah, I'm definitely gonna do it too. Definitely. Exactly. If a trillion of us gave $5, we could build something really good. I agree. I agree. I literally, this is an all call. This is a call out to all Black people. Just take that one day, if you can, and just invest in a Black owned business and see the difference. I bet you Walmart will probably be essentially empty, and Target and all of those other stores would probably essentially empty. We don't need to be in Walmart duking it out over that 50-inch flat screen TV. We don't need it, right? We don't. Hey, Teresa Thompson, how you doing? Heart back to you. I love New York too. I love New York too. And I tell you, I think I'm going to mosey on over to Western New York, and I'm going to invest in a Black owned business right down to the food. And you know where I think I'm going to go? Do you guys remember in May when that man, which I'm not even going to say, that young man, I'm not even going to say his name because I'm not going to give it any life. But do you remember that man who went and shot up the Tops in Buffalo, New York, and unalived 10 people? And, they call it the Jefferson 10. Remember that? I think I'm going to go down to, that's like on the eastern side of Buffalo. There's a lot of really, really great Black-owned restaurants in that area. So I think I'm going to go down there and I'm going to have a nice, yummy meal. And then I'm going to mosey on over to some Black-owned businesses down on Broadway. And I'm going to buy some stuff. I'm going to buy some stuff that I want anyway. And I'm going to do that. Yes, that's what I'm going to do. And I encourage us all to do it. Even if it's not online, go find one and invest. Yeah, that's the name. Oh, I refuse to even say it. Yes, thank you, Isaac. That's the name. Ugh, ugh, ugh. So yeah, no, we need to just invest in our people. And again, I don't celebrate it. I don't judge. If you choose to celebrate, just that's all I ask. And if you do, let me know. Let me know what you bought. Let me know where you went. Let me know about some businesses that I can also, invest in whenever I go across, which is frequent. So yeah. Exactly, O'Neill. There is no point. We have to, if we're going to uplift, we got to also support Black people, Black people's businesses. And that's what we need to do. So just boycott altogether and invest in a Black owned business for Black Friday. I mean, Black Friday, Black owned. Just do that. I know I will be. So anyway, family, I won't keep you. Like I said, I'm sure people are probably getting ready to go spend some time with family and eat some yummy food. So far be it from me to keep you any longer. But I just want to say I appreciate you taking the time to hang out with me for 30 minutes or so, given that it is Thanksgiving. So thank you so much for tuning in. And again, be safe. Have a good time. Again, go shop at a Black-owned business for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and I'll see you again next week live. Until then, again, please be safe, everyone. Thanks so much for tuning in. See you soon.